Hi, my name is Brad, and I donated my kidney to my best friend Shane. That was just a little under 2 years ago. What I have to say about Shane is I believe with all my heart that he is a walking miracle. He has seen a lot and been through a lot in his life with his health, but he never lets those things stop him from moving forward and living a normal life. Shane and I have known each other since we were in the 7th grade. We're now 47 years old, so we've known each other a long time. And I would say, for somebody who was born with no stomach muscles, he kind of pushed the envelope a little bit as far as what he could do. He never let anything stop him. What most people would consider probably a disability, he never looked at it that way. He never acted like he had a disability. He lived a normal life. He was a normal teenager, a normal kid. He wrestled at a very young age in middle school and in high school, and he was a decent wrestler. He also did play some football. All that was risky, but he did it anyway, and he loved life, and he still loves life today, even though there's still things that come at him. One of the biggest things I would say you can learn from Shane is never let hard times stop you. Always push through those hard times. And one of the biggest things he says is PMA, positive mental attitude. So I would have to say he's in that area. That is something I really can learn from him. I didn't think much about kidney disease until, really the first time Shane had to have a kidney transplant. He was about around 20 years old. And his brother was his first kidney donor, and which was very successful. And he lived, he lived a normal life after that, did whatever he wanted for the most part, It lasted a little over 20 years, and then he started going to kidney failure. So really, I never thought much of it, even during that time, really, until the second time around when his kidney from his brother started to fail. And then it was kind of hit close to home. So that's when it became real to me. When I learned what kidney failure meant for Shane, I really thought about it because, there's dialysis, which dialysis is great. But after seeing him over the last couple years being in dialysis and taking time out of his day and just his energy level and things like that, you can still live, but your quality of life is definitely not the same. And you don't, obviously, your time to live doesn't go as long as you would if you had an actual kidney, a functioning kidney. So when I found out that he needed a kidney, he told me, he needed to have another transplant, and he didn't come and ask me, would you be a donor? He wouldn't put that pressure on me. He wouldn't put that pressure on anybody, really. He would let people know that he needs a kidney donor, because there are people out there that are looking to do stuff like that. And so I thought about it, I prayed about it, and I just felt it was the right thing to do, that God wanted me to donate. So I went and got tested, and sure enough, I was a match. So then we started that process. When I actually ultimately decided to donate my kidney, it was because I knew that kidney donation was actually something that happens a lot, and it's a very successful, high rate of being successful. And when I got tested, I found out I was a match, and I did not have any idea the process of all the testing that you go through. And so when I found out that I was a match, I knew then that I had to make that choice. You don't have, once you become a match, once you're a match, you have to make that choice. Do I go any further, or do I stop where I'm at? Because it becomes real then. And, but if you're healthy and you have 2 kidneys, you can still live with that 1 kidney. So that's what ultimately made me decide to donate my kidney to Shane. When I decided to donate my kidney, I can't say that, my wife probably didn't get a little worried, and my kids and friends, they all asked, is this something are you sure this is something you want to do? But my wife and I talked about it, and it was on my heart. I just felt God was leading me to do it, and the way as far as the match that I was for Shane, I just knew it was something I needed to do. And so, if you decide to do this, understand that, you know, you got to make sure that if you're married and you have your wife or husband or whatever, make sure they're okay with it. Make sure they're comfortable with it, because it's a big decision. It's not something to take lightly. Know that if you get tested and you're a match, you don't have to go through with it. It's a tough decision, but you have to decide, am I going to do this or not? And you can't feel guilty if you change your mind. It's not for everybody. I felt in my heart when I did it, it was the best thing because I was healthy and I knew I could live with one kidney. And so I did it, and I was happy that I did it. Recovery was, for me, was easy, and I think it's such a high success rate anyway, so it made it even that much easier. I would say it got harder for me through the process, I suppose, because I wasn't used to going to the doctor. And the amount of testing you get, if there is something that maybe you don't even know that's going on in your body, it's going to be found. And so I guess that was really the hardest part for me, because, you know, I've never been through tests like that. So it was for me, that was a scary thing. But what helped me get through was knowing that I was trying to help Shane. And the other part is if there was something that maybe I didn't know about, it was going to be found. And so it could be something simple to be taken care of. So that's what I say was, for me, was the scariest thing. It may be different for others, but for me, that was the tough part. As I was being rolled into the operating room, I guess there was a lot of nerves there, and it was like, well, here we go. This is happening for real. But the transplant team was really good at making me feel comfortable. They joked around on the way there, made me laugh. But also at the same time, through the whole process, through the testing and everything, they always told me, and they always asked questions to make sure this is something you really want to do. But even up to that point of being in the bed and being rolled to the operating room, you still can say, no, I changed my mind. You still have that ability to do that. So you are never forced, and it's all your choice. So knowing that you made that choice yourself, and then them, they do so many transplants a year anyway, so it's like, you know, they've had a lot of practice, so you're in good hands. And what really made me feel at ease was Alex. She was my transplant coordinator. She was very good, and I really liked her. She was funny, but she held my hand that morning before, you know, as she was wheeling me in there, and she was talking to me, and the next thing you know, I was out, and then I woke up, you know, so it was a pretty smooth transition. I'd say the best part after the surgery was when I woke up. I didn't really feel all that bad. I had some pretty good drugs, but I was groggy. But the best part, I guess, was knowing that Shane and I both made it through. I made it through the surgery. He made it through the surgery. And I saw my wife, and everything was okay. So I'd have to say that was the best part as far as afterward. But then also just hearing from people, checking in on me. Recovery time for me, you know, they say, you know, about 6 weeks. And it was a full 6 weeks, really, as far as like, I mean, after 2 weeks, I went back to work. I don't work a job that's really physical. I work at a school district, and I was so glad to get back to work. I was welcomed back by the kids. I work at an elementary school, and, you know, the notes I got and just the hugs and everything, and the way people watched out for me, that I wasn't overdoing it. It was great. But take the full 6 weeks. You'll start feeling better. The level of pain for the first week, I was sore. I mean, but you got to get up and move. You got to get up and move around, because your body has to get back into getting used to it and the healing process. But so really, it was on Wednesday we had the surgery. I got out on Friday. The ride home was miserable, I'll admit that. I was sore. But when I got home, I slept a lot for the first few days. And then, so would have been on that Tuesday, I went to the rec center, and they have a track at the rec center where I live, and I walked a couple laps. That was it. And they were very slow laps. because I could feel it. But you want to move, you want to walk around, you know, you don't ever want to overdo it. Don't push yourself. But 6 weeks, you start feeling pretty good. But you still need to watch those things. You can't get back if you're a lifter, you can't get back into the heavy lifting right away. You got to work your way back into it. But overall, about a couple months, you know, about 2 to 3 months afterward, I was pretty much back to normal for the most part. There was some things I noticed in my core region. It was a little bit weaker because of, you know, cutting through some of that muscle. But overall, recovery was really easy. After donating my kidney, I would have to say my life really hasn't changed any. Biggest thing is stay hydrated. There's some days I think I'd, you know, go back to my old ways for the most part, but you have one kidney after that, so take care of it. But as far as anything else has changed, nothing has changed. I feel the same. As far as going to the bathroom and the amount of urine that comes out, that seems to be the same for the most part. It's amazing what your body does. It's amazing what the kidney does as far as that one that's missing. The other one kind of compensates, so it grows a little bit and kind of compensates for what's missing. So it's really cool. And afterwards, you know, you go to the doctor, you have follow-up appointments, they check, make sure everything's good, your kidney function is good, your blood pressure's good. So yeah, just, you know, take care of yourself, exercise, eat decent, just take care of yourself. So that's really, otherwise your life really doesn't change. It stays the same. You just can be happy knowing that you saved a life. Something I didn't expect after the surgery was due to complications with things during the transplant. I can't go into detail, but due to complications, 2 weeks after the surgery, the kidney I donated to my friend Shane had to be taken out. It was unfortunate, and I do regret that happening. I regret the fact that he went through a lot of stuff for that 6 months afterward. He became very sick because of some issues that happened at the hospital. But he's still here with us today. He's doing peritoneal dialysis. Once again, earlier in the video, I said he's a walking miracle, and he is. So thank God for that. But that would never change the fact that I would not donate a kidney, knowing that it's never 100%. So when you go into this, you know, most of the time you're going to have great results, because they test everything and they go through things, and these doctors and nurses and all these surgeons, they know what they're doing. But there is that slim chance that something could not work. And so going into this, if you're really serious doing this, know that it may not be 100%. And, you know, when you give a gift to somebody, you don't have control once it's out of you or out of your hands. You don't have control. So be okay with that. It wasn't something you did in vain. I don't feel it was something I did in vain. As a result, you know, Shane is working harder today being an advocate for people who need a kidney. And so that's why I'm doing this video. Just know that. And so I would never ever change my mind if I would have known that ahead of time. So that's what I regret, is the things that he had to go through because it didn't work out like it was supposed to. Looking back, the best part of donating, really, it was the fact that I knew I was going to help somebody. But also, I learned a whole new thing about kidney disease and donors and live donors and cadaver donors and all that stuff, you know, and it's an important thing because you can literally save somebody's life. So really that's what I'm glad that I learned through this process is I'm thankful that, you know, I can be a part of encouraging somebody else to, if they're thinking about being a living donor, if you're really thinking hard about it, I would encourage you to just, you know, if you want to know more, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to make phone calls, because it's an important thing, and it's saving somebody else's life, because you can give life and you can still see other people live through it. It's a beautiful thing. The best advice I could give somebody who is really seriously thinking about being a donor: find out as much as you can, but if you know you're healthy and you want to help somebody, just do it. You know, it sounds like it's easier said than done when you're thinking about it and your nerves are up and stuff. I get it. But I'm here today, a year and a half later, almost 2 years actually, closer to 2 years and a year and a half. And I don't regret it, you know, even the things that may have happened. But you can really help somebody. So if you're really seriously considering it, just go for it.